we hope will make this a comfortable place for a driver who needs to stop, either for an hour as a service break or something else.
Chris Storm joins me now. Chris, thank you so much for being here. How are you doing today?
Just great. Thank you, Ashley. And you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm excited to talk to you. We spoke, I think, back in 2023. I looked back through my emails,
We did.
and that's kind of when this project was getting started. Talk to me about what this project is, what we're talking about, and kind of the process you've been on.
Well, it's been a lengthy process, but the project is a parking lot that's designed for trucks, for drivers that are in transit or making deliveries or pickups in the DFW area. It's located in southeast Dallas in the town of Hutchins, near the intersection of Interstate 20 and Interstate 45, which comes from the Gulf from Galveston up through Dallas. And of course, I-20 is a major east-west thoroughfare. There's a lot of warehouse distribution and manufacturing in the area, and it's really one of the four gateways into the DFW community. Um, it's designed for and really solely for that transient driver. Uh, we'll have can describe the project if you'd like briefly. It's concrete paving. It will be as secure as we can make it, with multiple layers of security, including analytic cameras. We'll have a lounge for drivers with, of course, restrooms that we'll keep clean with showers, free Wi-Fi, laundry capabilities, drink and healthy food vending, food trucks, the things that we hope will make this a comfortable place for a driver who needs to stop, either for an hour as a service break or something else. It will be available by reservation. We'll have gated entry, which will add to the security features. 140 spaces. We'll have the ability to expand by another 110 if it is as successful as we hope it will be.
And I'm sure it will be. Of course, our viewers, listeners, they know that truck parking is a major issue in the industry. When did this idea come about, and how did you get involved in this?
Actually, it's really been an evolution. Uh, I started looking at the truck parking industry probably almost 4 years ago, and looking at more of the long-term parking yards for smaller carriers, smaller fleet owners. The more research I did, the more apparent it became that the real crisis in the industry is for this kind of parking. It's the short-term parking. It's the parking that's forcing drivers onto the side of the road or entrance exit ramps, church parking lots, um, maybe into truck stops um, where crime, cargo theft, human trafficking, vandalism, pilferage are prevalent. So, as I say, it evolved. You and I first talked after I met Louis Pugh at the Mid America Truck Show. This it would have been 2 shows ago, I guess. And I talked with Louis about this, very forthcoming. He's a guy to talk with. Um, he told me my biggest problem would be the NIMBYs, the communities that do not want truck parking in their community. And as it turns out, he was right. It took me 18 months to get the proper zoning to do this, but I did. And now, through all of those meetings and processes, a number of members of the city council uh, are very supportive. The staff is supportive. The police and fire departments in our community are supportive, all of whom were present at our groundbreaking a week or 10 days ago. The mayor and one of the city councilmen were there. Both spoke. They're glad because I think they finally understand the depth of the issue for them and are interested in having a place where a driver can park. safely for themselves, for their rig, and for their load, and for the community to get them into a position where they're no longer a danger to other vehicles on the road. But still, it took 18 months to get there. Uh, Couple that with this is a difficult environment or has been a difficult environment for financing real estate construction and development projects. It literally took me 1 year to get this financed. But that is done now too, and I had a number of potential financiers who wanted to work with us for a variety of reasons. They couldn't, mostly having to do with their real estate loan portfolios being full and not paying off as they should because of changes in interest rates. I mean, just a lot of different things that are, it's the nature of the beast, you know. But we got it done. We're underway. We'll look forward to opening this later this fall, towards the end of the year.
Were you surprised by the NIMBYs, the people who say not in my backyard?
Yes, yes, I was. You know, this is a lovely community. Um, it's a community that is largely composed of distribution centers, warehouses, and there is a lot of truck traffic on Interstate 45, on I-45. I think TxDOT says there are between 18 and 20,000 trucks a day on I-20 at that intersection. It's closer to 30,000. There's a lot of truck traffic there. Uh, and yes, I was. But as I say, I think, as obvious as that should seem, um, that there is an issue, I think until people really focus on it and are educated as to the depth of it and the pervasiveness of it, that it's easier to say we'd rather not do that. Like I say, the community has become very supportive. They have become our partner in this. It's no longer adversarial. It was really never adversarial, but there's no point of contention now. They have become our partner in this, and that's it's good for me, good for us, good for the driving community.
Do you have any background in trucking, or like how did you get connected, in this and knowing that this is a huge issue and something that needs to be done?
My background is in the commercial real estate business, but um, 12 or 14 years ago, I began to get involved in a related business in trucking. I owned a truck wash and truck maintenance facility in western North Dakota. I lived in Montana at the time in the Bakken oil field. And, working there every single day, um, our customers were truck drivers driving oil field equipment in that horrible, muddy, very difficult environment up there. And I got to be friends with a lot of drivers. And we talked about their business, talked about my business, easy people to talk with, great people. Um, what struck me, one of many things that struck me, was or were the stories they would tell me about not being able to get into an area when they show up for delivery if it's not within their delivery window, having to park someplace inconvenient, unsafe, not being able to use the restroom at a warehouse or destination facility. And the sense I got, Ashley, was that many times these drivers were treated as second class citizens. And I thought, how wrong is that? I mean, first of all, you get to know them, they're wonderful people. But the fact is, they deliver and transport things all of us use every single day, and they deserve better than that. So I've kind of carried that sense of understanding with me throughout this. And in the course of designing this project, um, making it into something where a driver feels welcome and comfortable has been foremost. Now, Ken Becker one of your directors is one of our advisory directors. Ken has graciously um, agreed to help with design, with philosophical understanding. He's been a driver his whole life. Ken and his wife Elizabeth came to Hutchins 2 times, drove up from their home near Houston 2 times to speak in our behalf at city commission meetings. And I think those presentations were really key in the education process that helped us with the community. Um, I have another advisory director who works with me, Ingrid Brown. I don't know if you know Ingrid. Ingrid is on the board of Women in Trucking. Another advisory director, JJ Coughlin, who's the chairman of the Southwest Transportation Security Council, which is there are 5 security councils that deal with cargo theft recovery, um, cargo security. The United States, JJ's chairman of the one in the Southwest, has become a close friend. So, to the extent I lack the trucking background, which I acknowledge I do, what I am trying to do is to bring people who have that experience and that expertise into the business with me as advisory directors and work with them and take guidance from them. And so far, it's been really beneficial.
Do you think what you're doing, would you like to see this in other areas? Like I said, I mean, as you know, as you've heard, this is an issue across the board, across the country. Do you think it's going to take people like yourself, finding property and building these kind of facilities?
Well, 2 questions there. Do we want to expand the concept and take it elsewhere? The answer to that question is absolutely, we do. I think step one is to get this property developed, operational. For me, I'm a fairly methodical person. I like to do a lot of research. I like to understand what I'm doing to the best of my ability. And I want to be sure that I do understand this and understand the operation and have the benefit of the feedback from our customers. That said, once that's done, I think our financial structure is such that we will have the ability to go elsewhere. And as you point out, the need is, well, it's not absolutely everywhere in the United States. I could think of some places in West Texas where truck parking is not an issue. But in the areas where distribution is centered, major highway intersections, it's a terrible problem. And I think there's plenty. That problem's big enough that it needs to be addressed multiple ways, and we'd like to be a part of that solution. I'm aware of bills in Congress, of bills in a variety of states. I read the Landline, I read other publications about truck parking. There's certainly governmental efforts that are in process to try to alleviate some of this. My my observation is those are very time consuming. They take a long time. Based on the numbers I've seen, the cost per space of a private sector development is 15-20% of what it is if it's developed by the public sector. Um, so I think we can deliver a product to the trucking community less expensively, and in most cases faster. Now, if we have a year and a half to get through zoning every single time we do this, it's going to take some time. But I think there are other communities that will move more quickly. And I think with the education that we can give them from having an example to show them, and actually having the willingness of some of the elected officials and the staff in this community to talk with their counterparts in other cities, I think we can move more quickly the second time through this.
Do you know yet? Will it be like paying for the spot, for a certain amount of time, or what's the pay structure going to be?
We will have to charge for the space for the service. And I know many drivers don't like that. And I've talked with Mr. Sweeney at your shop about this and about the surveys he's done. And I get that. I understand why a driver doesn't want to pay for it. Who does, really? But as a practical matter, just as a driver makes the investment in their rig, they have to be compensated for that investment as they move freight. We're making a sizable investment. We have to earn a return. Um, I don't want to get into specific pricing now. We're still far enough away. We'll work our way through that. But my view on this is that if you're going to pay for it, you get what you pay for in terms of the time that you're there. So you don't have to pay for more time that you're not using. And you have the services and amenities that make it worth your while. Instead of parking at a truck stop where you can park free if you buy enough fuel or enough stuff in the C store, if you're going to park with us, you're going to get a much more secure environment. You're going to know that you have a space at the end of your drive time, at the end of your duty day. You're not going to have to drive around for an hour looking for a place to stop. You know you're going to be behind a fence with cameras, with staff, which I didn't mention. We'll have staff on site um, with amenities that you need and want, like the showers, like the laundry, like the food, and so forth. There's value in that. So my view is that if we present enough value, then a driver or a dispatcher or a broker, carrier, whomever will understand that, yeah, this is not the same as parking at the truck stop, but look at what we get. And one of the number one things in that whole list are the security aspects. You know, in this particular area of Dallas where we are, there are 5 truck stops in 3 or 4 mile radius. All of those are listed on the quote, do not stop list that was circulating last year that I'm sure you saw. Uh, major companies, Schneider, Werner, um, JB Hunt, Knight, will not let their drivers stop at those truck stops because of cargo theft, vandalism, pilferage, human trafficking, and danger to the driver and the equipment. You know, we're gonna do our very best to eliminate those problems. Personally, I think there's value in that. The drivers that I have spoken with at the Matt's show, um, I can't tell you how many drivers I've spoken with walking through these truck stop parking lots and just talking to them. With my advisory directors, you know, they think the same thing. If there's value there, then you get at that concern about why do I have to pay for this? I mean, we're not here trying to take money out of a driver's pocket for the heck of it. What we're here trying to do is to provide a safe, comfortable, welcoming environment for a driver when they have to stop.
And you mentioned possibly operating this fall. Do you have a date of when you hope to be up and running?
You know, I'd a lot rather answer that question after we get through the spring
Yeah.
and through the rain and we're no longer working in the dirt or we're subject to it. Off the top of my head, I'd say probably 8 months from now. But I don't want to get that hard date out there, you know, and then wind up having a bunch of broken promises.
Well, whenever you do get up and running, we'll have to chat again.